So it's been such a busy NFL news day. I thought, why not do a second episode of Falcons today? So I want to run through some of the news items out there and how it could have a domino effect to the Falcons. Starting with what I'd say is the biggest name, and probably this is going to get added to by the time you even watch this video because things are really starting to pick up, and that is DK Metcalf requesting a trade. Because I kid you not, within 30 minutes of his trade request, we already had comments on our previous video asking, could the Falcons get DK Metcalf? By the way, this guy has some really cool wedding pictures, so go check him out. Jay also saying DK Metcalf just requested a trade. Atlanta, go get him. So I thought we could discuss the possibility of Atlanta kicking the tires, so to speak, on a DK Metcalf trade. So let's start by looking at some of the facts of the case, if you will. Metcalf requested a trade. He's got 1 year left on that 3-year, $72 million contract that he signed a few off seasons ago. He's still very young, still entering the prime of his career, you could argue. Only turned 27 years old back in December, so far from the dreaded 30-year-old curse. But there is a lot of good football ahead of DK still, wherever he ends up playing in 2025. Personally, if I'm Atlanta, I'm actually passing on DK Metcalf. Would it be cool if we all got a notification on our phones? Breaking news: the Falcons just traded for DK Metcalf. Yeah. Would I probably talk myself into it? Absolutely. Do I think the Falcons need to trade for DK Metcalf? Actually, no. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. And I'm always in the business of getting good players, but every man's got a price. And I don't think the price to acquire Metcalf and then extend him is really going to make the Atlanta Falcons football team that much better, because it then takes away from your ability to spend elsewhere on your roster, right? And the wide receiver room for Atlanta is really good. Drake London, we knew was an awesome receiver. He just needed a half-decent quarterback. And with Kirk Cousins, he had the best year of his NFL career. Darnell Mooney just came up 8 yards shy of 1,000 yards, and that's only because he ran into a few injuries at the end of the season. Hey, I was a Ray McCloud doubter. I was like, this guy can't be your wide receiver 3. Ray McCloud said, shut your bitch ass up, and put up 686 yards and a touchdown and laughed in my face. The Atlanta Falcons' issue is not their receiving core. It is not their offense right now. Do not become the old Falcons of, we're just going to score a bunch of points and hope our defense plays half decent. That's not a winning strategy. And you know how I know that? Because Atlanta has not made the playoffs in a long time. Atlanta has not had a winning season in a long time. And all they've done is invest in the offense. The offense is good. Now it's time to take your funds, to take your salary cap space, which we'll talk about in a moment, take your draft capital, and invest in your defense. Would an offense with Metcalf, Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson, Drake London sound awesome? Yeah, it would. It sounds like a really good fantasy football team. Maybe not the best reality football team, though. So let me know if you would trade for DK. I think it would probably cost you a third-round pick. I'd rather, which Atlanta does not have, so they'd have to get creative, maybe like a future third or something, but I'm passing for realistically what it would cost to get him, and then the extension you have to follow that up with as well. Two other names that we mentioned earlier at the top of the show, Tyler Lockett and Christian Kirk, a couple of veteran receivers that were cut today as well. Lockett, one of the best Seahawk players of all time, 10-year man there in the Pacific Northwest. And then Christian Kirk, who got paid by the Jags, and collectively the NFL community was like, what are they doing in Jacksonville? And at first, it didn't look all that bad. You can see his numbers. Was it 2022, his first year in Duval? 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. Like, for a second there, they were the one laughing at us. But unfortunately, injuries have kept him off the field in 2023 and 2024. And with $10 million in cap savings for the Jags, it just made too much sense to, move on from him. But if any wide receiver is going to get added to this team, we got to be specific about it. And I think it's got to be a slot wide receiver. Darnell Mooney, say it with me, is not a slot wide receiver. The Bears tried that. It was a failure, and it's why he's not there anymore. And Atlanta knew that and used him outside, and it's why he was so successful with the Falcons this past season. Drake London is not a slot receiver. Can he play the slot from time to time? Sure, he's really good. You can put him really anywhere you want, and you're likely going to have success. But where does he make his money? What's his bread and butter? It's the X position. It's the boundary position. So if there is one spot where I'm getting picky and I'm like, let's be needy and find one more receiver, I'd be interested in a slot guy, and that is Christian Kirk. So we'll add more to this in just a second here, but with NFL free agency just a few days away, legal tampering begins on March 10th, but for the Falcons, knowing how things went last year, they've already started tampering, and then the new league year kicks off March 12th. So if you're looking for free agency coverage, trade rumors, all that good stuff, join well north of 33,000 strong here at Falcons Today. Now, we're spending a lot of time talking about potential free agent signings and trades. It's worth noting Atlanta is currently $5 million over the salary cap. I don't say this to scare anyone. It's not some like, oh no, the Falcons are doomed. It is Wednesday. Reed may not like me come Sunday because I'm making the two of us work on Sunday. Because you know why? On Sunday, probably Saturday, which I have a wedding, so I'm going to be doing a video from the wedding. But Sunday for sure, they will be making at least one of these cap-saving moves to get themselves into the green. Either Grady, Jarrett, or David Onyemata gets released. I mean, one of these moves gets you out of the red instantly. I think you could extend Jessie Bates. He's got 2 years left on his contract. You can restructure Chris Lindstrom's deal. Restructures are always scary because the Saints gave it a bad name with kicking the can down the road. But if you want to maximize your current spending abilities, restructure a guy you believe will be around for the long term, and you won't be left with trying to cut a player who has a huge dead cap hit at the end of his contract. Or you could trade Kyle Pitts, but I don't think a trade for Pitts is going to happen between now and the beginning of the new league year. They wouldn't trade Pitts just to get into the green. They would trade Pitts to mostly get draft capital and as an added bonus, generate nearly $11 million in cap space. So here are my predictions for these guys here. When it comes to Grady, Jarrett, and David Onyemata, I would be honestly shocked if both players come back with their current contract configuration. My guess is Atlanta's approached one or both of these players and said, listen, we want to have you back, but not for this dollar amount. So would you agree to a pay cut? And as much as that might suck, they may honestly just say, yeah, sure, because we're not getting much more anywhere else in free agency. So if we're going to get paid the same amount from the Falcons or the Commanders, the Bears, the Seahawks, why not just stay in Atlanta so I don't have to pick up my family and move, since they're 30-plus years old and they may be kind of settling down a little bit at this stage in their career. So I'm guessing one of these two guys, possibly both, are going to agree to a pay cut and lower their cap hit. So that's my prediction for those guys right there. As for Jessie Bates, I think he's going to sign a 3-year, $60 million contract extension. He's got 2 years left on his deal. He initially signed a 4-year, $64 million contract. He's not even a top 3 highest paid safety in football anymore. The current highest paid safety is Antoine Winfield, making a little over $20 million. So this would make Bates the second highest paid safety in football, just behind Winfield. And that locks him into Atlanta for 5 more seasons. You probably put enough guaranteed money on it where it's just a 2-year extension. Basically a 4-year deal when it's all said and done with the 2 years he has left on his contract. But Jessie Bates is a prime extension candidate. He has played so much better than any of us could have imagined. It's been one of the biggest mistakes by the Bengals to let him go. I would extend Bates, and that gives you more years to spread his cap hit over. As for Kyle Pitts, like I said earlier, I don't think you should do a trade right now just to generate cap space. He's a good enough, valuable enough player that you should hold on to him, and if you want to trade him, do it when the time is right. Do it when the time is right, and not doing it just for the sake of getting into the green for the salary cap. And Chris Lindstrom is a viable and prime restructure candidate. Restructuring is a little complex, but basically what it is you are taking a player's base salary for this season, 2025, and prorating it over the remaining years left on their deal, which I think is 4 for Lindstrom, and you lower their cap hit for this year and raise future cap hits. You don't want to do that for guys that you think you might be moving on from in the near-ish future, because then you have a huge dead cap hit waiting for you. But if you think Lindstrom is going to be around for the long term, then you can eventually extend him and spread those cap hits out over a longer period of time. So once more, here are the 5 cap-saving moves that I could see Atlanta making some type of combination of. I don't expect them to do all 5. It might just be 1 to 2 because they're not that far from the salary cap threshold. But they are going to be making some moves between now and the start of the new league year, which is March 12th at 4 p.m. Eastern. So a bit of a shorter video, but I just wanted to relay some of the news out there. Let's spin the wheel, see which commenter is going to get 2 claps before we let you guys go for Wednesday night. And our winner is, oh, it's close. Is it going to get there? Oh, my God, I've never seen it. That's the closest I've ever seen it.
That is insane.
So sorry to Aaron, but Dirty Bird is our winner. Dirty Bird, 2 claps for you. 1, 2. That was kind of bad. Let's try it again. 1, 2. There we go. Much better. I didn't even know you clapped because it was like in sync with me. Enjoy your Wednesday night. I'm off to trivia, and I'll see everyone tomorrow.